Welcome to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm so excited for season 2 and the great guests you're going to hear from, their struggles, how they overcame their struggles, their triumphs. Through personal and business life, I think they're tied together, and we're going to share great stories about that. This show isn't just about me. It takes a lot of good people working with me. Among them is my partner, H7 Network, and Clay Hicks. Building relationships, building community is the mission of H7 Network. They want to create a network of champions where everybody wins. Find out more at h7network.com. And we hope to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you through our show. Enjoy the show. We'll talk to you on the other side. Welcome, everyone. This is Steve Ramona, your host of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. And I've got an incredible servant today because she works in nonprofits, and that's a passion of mine. We need to focus on nonprofits and help them, and that's what she does. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Steve.
So nonprofits, why nonprofits? Let's start in the very beginning.
Yeah, it's an interesting question since I've gotten into more of the business networking world where I'm working with a lot of for-profits. As soon as I say I'm a nonprofit, you can see their eyes start to twitch, or maybe their eyebrow go up, and they're like, Some people directly ask me, like, what made you go with nonprofit versus for-profit? And I still at this point don't have a very clear answer. It just felt right. I'm a social worker by trade. That's what my degree is in. That's my licensure. I've always worked in nonprofits and social service agencies. I worked in them for about 10 years while I was completing my undergrad and graduate degree, and a couple years afterward. And I didn't like what I felt or saw for the staff or the clients in many of those experiences. Now there were some good ones, however, just overall, I didn't appreciate the experience, and so I saw a lot of things that could be done differently, from employee culture to even just different multiple streams of income, rather than always relying on one source and then having to pivot, always relying on productivity standards from your employees, which put a lot of pressure on them. I just saw a lot of things that could be done differently. And so I just kind of combined that with this dream of having a holistic wellness center and really wanting to help people heal the root cause of things, rather than getting to putting the point where you're so struggling so much you're putting band-aids on it.
How many nonprofits are struggling? Probably the wrong word, but really need help?
All of them. I mean,
No,
unless you're like a Cleveland Clinic, which is
yeah.
technically a nonprofit, unless you're a major corporation, all of us, we're all from the beginner and the very small stages, like the grassroots run, we're about to celebrate 5 years in November. So obviously we have more needs than somebody that's 30, 40, 50, 100 years in the making. They have a full staff of people to do things, but regardless of your size, really, you all need help. You all need funding and donors and boots on the ground.
Yeah, and that's where you come in. Let's go into that. So somebody's got a nonprofit, they obviously need help. What does Amanda do when she comes in?
So I am the nonprofit, so if someone else is, and it's interesting because I'm at the point where I still am very willing to admit, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I don't know, because there's been many times that I've fallen on my face. However, I gotten to the point where I'm in our circles, I am like the nonprofit consultant, right? Like,
Yeah.
everybody that wants to start a nonprofit, or they run into someone that has one and has questions or wants to start one, they're like, oh, you should talk to Amanda. She has a nonprofit. And they think that I'm the expert. And so I just am very humble with them and say, I'm still figuring it out, but here are some things that I learned along the way and I made mistakes on that might help you not make that mistake along the way. So some of those very big core things are, from day one, you better have a good board, a very solid working board, not just three names on the piece of paper for the government to satisfy that requirement. You need people that are actually going to be boots on the ground, sharing your mission, finding donors, creating relationships there. And the other thing is, do not, and this is for any business really, don't ignore the business plan, or a nonprofit world, that strategic plan, because otherwise you will just be flailing along, flying by the seat of your pants, putting out fires as they come without any clear direction.
Great tips, and I haven't heard that before, and those are really good advice that I'm going to take to heart as my nonprofit down the road. We'll talk down the road. Now, Carve Your Own Path is your nonprofit, as I told you before the show. I just love that name. Let's delve into that.
Yeah. The name, it takes a while to come up with a name for any business, I
Yeah.
think, but just to share a little bit more about my journey, I got to this place physically and mentally where I was not going to last much longer. I was having very scary, active suicidal thoughts. I was very depressed. I had been diagnosed with a chronic health condition, and that was flaring up all the time. I was using FMLA all the time, and I got to the point where I just knew I wasn't going to last. I felt like I was going to die pretty soon if I kept up the way I was. And at the time, he's my husband now, but we had only been together a couple months. And I came home and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to last. I'm so burnt out. I can't do it. And he said, well, I can cover the bills while you get another job. Just quit. And I thought he had lost his mind. I don't have another job lined up. I'm not quitting my job. I was raised by a single parent. Nobody takes care of me. I take care of myself, right? Um, and yet that next day I went and sat at my desk and just had what I call a knowing kind of come over me that it's now or never. And I sent my email right then and there, which was the most terrifying and liberating thing I've ever done. And I've never looked back. I always make sure I share that I very much came from a place of privilege where I had a dual income household where I was able to do that. And many people in my situation are not able to do that and have to just endure until the next thing comes, right? So I always want to point that out. But that was really where I started to carve my own path and say, this is not for me. This doesn't align with my values. This doesn't align with my own wellness goals. And I have to find something different. I don't know what it is yet. I'll figure it out along the way. And so I just jumped off the ledge and built the bridge as I went. And kind of the whole 5 years that we've been going, just continuing to carve my own path. The first job that I applied for after that was a 40-hour full-time salary position. And I said, hey, I see you're looking for full-time. However, I'm looking for, 24 hours. Is that doable? And I thought they would laugh in my face. But what they said was, let's talk to HR and I'll come back to you. And that's where I really felt like, hey, I'm pretty powerful. If I just advocate for myself and ask what's the worst that can happen. And I just continued to do that. I asked, I negotiated, asked for help and utilized my support system. And you just figure it out as you go. You don't have to have one right answer, and there's no cookie cutter way to do life or to take care of yourself, and whatever works best for you.
True love when your husband or at the time boyfriend says, "Hey, quit your job. I'll support you." So I
Hmm.
see why you're happy. Happy dad,
Hmm.
happy husband. Well, it's a happy life thing, but we won't go there. What is the mission of Carve Your Own Path?
We take a community approach to healing and holistic wellness. So we don't want you to wait to the point where I was, where you're kind of brought to your knees and need an intervention that might be a little more serious. We want to teach society the tools that you're not taught, right? We want to advocate for every possible way that we can at the youngest age possible. Give people those tools, give them emotional regulation and stress management and effective communication and boundary setting and opportunities for different types of wellness engagement, right? Healthcare is so much more than just the healthcare intervention when you're sick. It's the wellness that you do that leads up to that. So we do take that holistic approach to wellness. We offer mental health counseling, we offer Reiki and different types of restorative yoga. We have art therapy and embodied therapy to really get you more in your body a little bit with those mental health challenges that are going on. And we
Hmm.
also are in our community a lot. So we have wellness presentations and workshops. We work with businesses on their employee wellness. So we'll bring in employee wellness retreat workshops or professional development sessions
Hmm.
to really spread this out as far as we can.
I love that. So somebody wants to come to the nonprofit before they hit the intervention. How's it look when they come aboard to your nonprofit? What are the steps they to get on board and ready to go?
Yeah. So everyone is individualized.
Hmm.
Some people, it's interesting, the younger generation, I mean, even the teens and the preteens now, the access to information has really changed our industry because for many years, people might finally come to the decision that they need some support, and they were a little hesitant and weren't so forthcoming with what was actually going on, right? They weren't able to identify and label it. Now people call us up and they're like, hey, I've been doing some shadow work and my inner child needs healed. And I think it's because of this thing my mom did, right? And they have all of this, like, they've already kind of conceptualized what they
Right.
need. And so a lot of times it's really just us, talking that out and scheduling them. But when we do, if someone's calling for counseling, we always say, we have these different options. You can try them out. If this isn't a good fit, we have another provider. We always encourage an integrated approach. So if someone's going to do, for example, art therapy with our art therapist, Jenna, they might also benefit from doing a Reiki session with Lisa to help uncover some things that just aren't coming out in those sessions with Jenna. And then afterward, go back to therapy and process what came up for you in
Yeah.
Reiki. And if it's not us, that's okay too. We keep a pretty robust network of trusted providers in our area. So we can say, hey, here's an acupuncturist or a chiropractor or a nutritionist or whatever that looks like to holistically take care of that person's need very individually and based on your own cultural or just different identity needs.
Right. No, I love that. Is there a fee for this?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We do offer sliding fee scale, and we're working on getting more grants and funding to cover some of those things. Yeah.
Awesome. And that's where your benefit. I'm so glad you said that. You're trying to cut these fees so people will do it, because if it's too expensive, they won't do it. Then the stuff starts happening. It's not good, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And
I,
unfortunately, our current society doesn't place emphasis on wellness, right? It doesn't necessarily make money. However, just so many things, right? We talk often about the stress disease connection. And if you look at just, I mean, you quick Google search CDC or World Health, organization, they clearly in the research indicate when people are stressed, it leads to high blood pressure, heart attacks, cancer, chronic health conditions, right? And so if we can help eliminate that in any way, even if it's just sharing educational tools and resources on our social media
yeah,
or on our podcast, right? If you can't afford to access those services, we still want to be able to educate you as much as we can to help yourself.
I love that a lot, because the problem is we all know this stuff. What you just mentioned, but we need accountability, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
So that person gets that today, this week they're good, next week they're dropping a little bit. You're there with where part of your nonprofit comes in, the art therapy. Hey, let's do some art
Hmm.
today. Let's get you back in whatever that is, because I'm not an expert at it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's changed a lot since COVID, hasn't it?
Yeah. And it's interesting because when COVID first happened, I was still working for someone else. I was actually working in integrated care in doctor's offices, which was actually a really cool position. And I really loved it because I got to access people that likely would never step foot in a therapy office, right? Like those kind of can't teach an old dog new tricks type folks, or just the stigma, right? They just weren't willing to do that. But when I was in the office and could have that warm handoff from their doctor, they were a little more likely to do that. And I remember when they first said, "Hey, we're shutting down, and you got to do telehealth now," and I was like, "What? I don't want to do that." I was so abhorrently against it because all of my clinical training is what's their body language, safety concerns, risk concerns, what location are they at in case something crisis happens and you need to get them resources or emergency care, right? So it was just a whole new concept that my brain couldn't take at the time. And fast forward a few months later, I was doing phone session only, no video, with like an 82-year-old woman that was locked down in her nursing home or assisted living facility, and we were just doing. I mean, she was so thankful for being able to stay connected and had made so much progress. And so it really flipped the script for me on what accessing care and providing care to people looked like.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure you have a lot of stories. Can you pick one really good story of somebody you've worked with that you've really helped?
This is one that I share regularly. So, a lot of what we do is focused on the 8 dimensions of wellness. And that's an initiative that came out of the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. It's a governmental organization. And so, basically, it's a circle of circles. If there's any life coaches listening, I think it's
Yeah.
called like a wellness wheel in their realm, but just different types of wellness, whether that's mental and emotional, physical, spiritual, environmental, psychological, financial, social, occupational, all of those. And when I talk to people about that, it's more of a mindful tool to look at and say, how am I doing in these areas that maybe I need to adjust some things because I'm not feeling the greatest. Like, oh, I haven't connected with anyone. I'm probably pretty isolated. Or, oh, I've been eating Taco Bell all week, right? Like just a
Yeah.
mindful check-in. And oftentimes I can find people get overwhelmed because they think that they have to create habits or tasks in each of those areas, and that can be overwhelming. So I say all that to say, I had a client come in one time that I'd been working with for a long time, probably about, well, we're almost to 4 years now. It was probably about the 2.5 year mark. And they came in and said, yeah, I'm really excited. I started kayaking again. And that sounds so just like basic, right? But this therapist almost jumped out of her chair with excitement because I could see, I said, did you know how many dimensions of wellness you have going on in one activity? And I nerded out and I said, you have your social wellness because you're going and doing it with other people. You have spiritual wellness because it's meditative and you're out there in nature. You have mental wellness, again, because it's meditative and it's good self care time for you. You have physical wellness because you have to move the kayak. You have environmental wellness because you're out there in nature doing it, right. And I just listed off all of these things and got so excited. And then that was the point where it really pivoted for me that I needed to start sharing with people how you could do that in one or two activities rather than feeling overwhelmed that you needed to create something for each one.
No, I love that because if it's not simple, people won't do it, or if they do it, they'll do a short period of time and then they fall off, and that's not helping anybody.
Right, absolutely.
I love that story. So you help people find the best for them. In this case,
Hmm.
kayaking was something that was a perfect fit because that's what they love to do. If I don't like the
Yeah,
kayak, you're not going to tell, hey, go jump in a kayak and get these 8 things. I'm going, oh, I hate
right.
this. Why am I to do this? I don't like the kayak. So you fit this to that need of that person.
Yeah, and I think that's an important tip just for people in general that maybe don't know about counseling or therapy, right? We're not there to give you the answers or give you advice or prescribe things to you. We have options for you to explore. And might I say that journaling can be really helpful for all the anxiety you have going on your brain? Yeah, I'll say that, but I also have learned over the years to say it a different way. Do you want to brain dump that onto a piece of paper? Because when you say journaling, people have this like expectation they need to write like a dear diary and have it like perfectly formatted, right? And that overwhelms them, so they just don't do it. So yeah, there's going to be things that we recommend that we know are helpful. I'll usually encourage you to at least try it and see what happens. Sometimes I have people try it right there in session. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If it doesn't make sense for you, that's okay. We'll find something that does work.
And you don't know until you try it.
Exactly.
And I did kayak. It's funny you mentioned kayak. I did it in college as a class. I didn't know if I'd like it. Teacher fell in love with me. She had me run the class. I was older at the time, but I like that. And that's why I say opportunities, you need to jump on them. I'm not every one of them, but you never know what you miss if you don't do it.
Hmm.
And especially in this case, it could be life and death in some situations, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, people's we're not talking enough. I mean, even COVID ramped up the mental health crisis in our country. But we're not talking enough about this. The amount of people that are just silently suffering anxiety, depression, stress, trauma, and are debilitated by that mentally and physically on a day-to-day basis. And yet, even though we're in 2023, they continue to just pull up their bootstraps and move along because there's no other option. And that's the
Yeah.
expectation in our society. I just, I'm here to shake that up and say we have to stop doing this. This isn't working. We're not serving, we're not serving the people that we're working with or for.
Disruption's big in business. And I love that you're shaking it up because that's what needs to be done for the Ubers, the Tesla, electric car, all that. Those are all disruptors.
Hmm.
And good or bad, and most of them are going to be good. It's going to make our life a little bit better. There's listeners on here I know that are resonating with what you're saying. How can they get a hold of? What's a shout out? Give a shout out to the audience how they can connect with you.
Yeah. So you can check us out on our website. It is cyopinc.org. I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to find me on LinkedIn, Amanda Kostura, and connect with me there. And we are on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of them are CYOP Inc. as well.
I love it. So I'm going to do something for you because I really like you and I love what you're doing. And I've said this a million times on the show and before. The first 5 people that reach out to you that mention the podcast, I'm going to send them a gift
Awesome.
because I want you to reach out. And if you're not the first 5, please reach out or reach out if you know somebody. that has mental health. I'm dealing with that personally and some things in my life. So I know exactly what you're talking about. People are afraid to reach out. She's very easy to talk to, as you can tell on this show. So don't worry about that. Or if you have a friend or family member that's struggling, reach out and Amanda will figure out how to navigate through that, because I tell people we fix 50% of mental health in this world would be a completely different place. And that's just 50%,
Yep.
and that grows from there. And I love what you're doing. What, this is a tough question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. What is one of the big challenges for people that you have coming to your carve your own path?
Oh, I'm trying to pick one, Steve.
I know that's why I said it's tough, but something I help the audience that
Right now
maybe.
it's very timely, and I wouldn't be a good social worker if I didn't talk about it. The current legislation, the current anti-LGBTQ and anti-trans legislation is a huge burden and stressor on, we work heavily with the LGBTQ population, and um, lack of safety, being able to exist, walk outside your door, being able to hold hands with somebody you love, being able to exist in a body, being able to wear the clothes that you want to wear and express yourself how you want to do that, is one of the biggest concerns right now. Is basic human rights.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
that's where it goes down to whether we don't get into all that, but it's basic human rights, and
Hmm.
it falls on different categories. We're running out of time, and I could talk to you so much longer. I think we have to do a part two. So we'll
I'm
talk
always
about that.
happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to do a part two. But with that being said, I want to thank you for being on the show. This is a big topic. I hope a lot of people reach out to you, or just go on her website, whatever. Let's help each other. And
Hmm.
that's what Amanda's doing. That's why I love her on my show. She's actually a servant in business. So, can I get one more favor from you? And I
Yeah.
think my audience will love it. What's one more tip that's helped you in your journey in your life, business or personal, that can help the audience?
Yeah. And I also just wrote, I'm sorry, real quick, I just want to say that if we're not for you, if it doesn't make sense, location or whatever that is, I'm still happy to serve. So if I can make a referral, a connection, a recommendation to somebody else that might be a best fit for you, please feel free to reach out. Um, my go-to is always listen to your body. We have enough messages coming at us from all sorts of different sources, from parents, caregivers, upbringing, society, social media, everybody else, even doctors and medical providers, right? A lot of people are going to tell you about yourself, but really listen to yourself, listen to those signals that your body is giving you. And if you feel like something isn't right, do not stop. Continue to carve your own path into figuring out what those answers are and building a team of people that believe you and are willing to support that need.